Hello plant friends, today we're cleaning the AeroGarden. I'm Victoria. Today we're cleaning the two AeroGarden bounties. These are the two things that you're going to need to empty out the water reservoirs. So this siphon will empty it out, and this water reservoir you can find at Walmart. It holds 2 gallons, and each AeroGarden holds 1/2 gallon in water. So now I'm going to be taking out my plants and I'm going to be trimming the roots. So I clean my AeroGarden every single month. I trim my roots, I replace the water, and I give everything a really great scrub. And I do that because it prevents clogs, it maximizes the performance of your AeroGarden, and it also extends the lifespan. And then as for the plants, it also reduces the chance of pathogens and improves nutrient uptake, reduces algae and debris buildup, and it also maintains optimal water quality. So you're going to notice that all of my roots are really nice and white and healthy. When you have dark colored roots that aren't just stained by the water, that means that those roots have been in high pH or in an environment where they are rotting. So this trimming also prevents the roots from getting into the water level indicator and also the filter. And I haven't noticed it harming my plants. I like to just cut off the really long ones that could get into those. I don't really go crazy. So I take this puppy pad and I put that down so that way I don't get water everywhere. And I have two AeroGarden bounties. One is filled with entirely lettuce, and the other one is filled with tomatoes. We've taken out our top part with our plants. Now we're going to look inside and see how dirty things are. The first step is to unplug your pumps. Now there is a plastic piece that goes over the pumps. I remove that because every time I clean my AeroGarden water reservoir, I clean my pumps as well. So you're going to see that process. The best thing to use is soap and also a really nice soft brush, and then one that's kind of pointed that can get in those more narrow crevices. I have one that I'm going to link, both of the ones I'm using in this video. So it's just really important to clean these because I've seen people post cleaning videos and it looks like they haven't cleaned theirs in 6 months. It's so important to have fresh water and to maintain your roots as well as, aesthetics matter too. No one wants to look at a crusty AeroGarden every day. I personally don't. So that's why I clean mine once a month. So in doing that, you don't have to take as many things apart. So I've seen lots of people removing the grow deck, which is very delicate and breaks apart if you're not careful with it. So as an alternative, instead of taking that apart, is you can soak it overnight in Durgal, which is safe for coffee makers. It's almost like vinegar, or you can use vinegar, and that prevents that breakup. If you've gone longer than a month, I highly suggest you do that and just keep your little plants, if you have some already started, wrapped up in paper towels or in water so that way everything has a chance to soak. This just keeps you so much more like on top of things, and it also prevents you from taking a really long time like you would every 6 months if you were to do a deep clean. So this is like an easy, I guess you'd call it like a soft clean you can do every month. So this one is made out of stainless steel. So stainless steel will rust. I'm sure everyone has seen that happen. So there are going to be some additional steps that I take to ensure the stainless steel outside does not rust. And there's that line that prevents water from getting out. Always make sure to get that because there's always tons and tons of buildup, and it's brown and it just looks pretty gross. So this is really nice. And if you're not sure, or if your water indicator is failing, make sure you can just slide it up. It goes straight up and comes out, and you can rinse it out and clean it with like one of the wire cleaners. Maybe there's some roots in there, and that will get it to work correctly. I didn't use an abrasive like baking soda because just with soap and water, this spinning brush and a little bit of TLC, I was able to get everything clean. So here I am, I'm just rinsing it out, and you can see that it's already so much cleaner than whenever we looked at it before. Even though I'm going to immediately be filling this with water afterwards, I still wipe it clean so that way you can see like how clean it is. Also, when you wipe things clean, you can also get extra residue that maybe the brush wasn't able to get. Some of that algae and other things that can grow and build up in there are really slippery, and sometimes brushes somehow aren't able to get all of it. So that's what I like to do. And it's really satisfying because you can see all the dirt that came off. So that's what I'm going to be doing right here. And whenever I go to pull away, you can see that it is spotless. It is so clean. So there's going to be a really nice place that's holding water that's clean. That is going to be good at just ensuring that those roots don't get sick. If you keep aquariums, you know that you can have different pHs and ammonia and all these other things. And if you don't keep aquariums, the water quality matters when you keep fish, because if you don't monitor it, change the water, your fish, you can have an ammonia spike or a spike in nitrates, and it will be so toxic it will like basically be acidic and it will kill everything in the tank. So that's what happens whenever you leave the water in your AeroGarden and you notice like, oh, my roots are turning brown, my leaves are starting to wilt, and then you ask like, oh no, what's wrong? Well, it's because that water has sat in there for so long and there's nowhere for it to go that it's just become acidic and it's not able to deliver nutrients to the roots because the roots have suffered and become necrotic and died. So I also take out the filters and the little pumps. So these are really easy to take apart. I do not use my nails. I use this tool that I have that I can also link below, and it just makes it easier to break it open. So whenever you take it apart, you have several tiny little components. So what I did earlier is I put a stopper in my drain because I don't have like a strainer. And you want to do that because there's this tiny little black piece that's rubber that fits in at the end of this white pole inside. And if you lose that, you just don't want to lose it. So I do that because when I got my big Farm XL, I also got it used just like I got these two. I had one of my most important key components fall into my drain and I had to get it out. And luckily, I have a 24-inch pair of tweezers that I use for terrariums, and it also worked out for me to get that piece out of the drain without having to take anything apart. So this brush is really nice. There's multiple heads to it, but it's nice because it's pointed. You can also just use like a pipe cleaner or a toothbrush, but this one helps you get into those little corners. This is also important, this little magnetic thing, and I'll show you the little tiny black. It's almost like a dot that you can lose. So then I rinse everything out. So now we're just rinsing everything off. And if you've never cleaned your pump, you might want to do that. These had only ran for a month and they already had buildup. So just imagine if you've had yours for a long time. So here's this teeny tiny black piece, and I shoved this into there so it wouldn't fall out into the sink. So you can try to go and aim to do that so that way it doesn't pop out. So now we're going to pop it back in, and everything's like a perfect little puzzle and it's easy to put back together. So something else I like to do is I like to wipe down the surface around my AeroGarden. It just makes everything look more pleasant and put together. Now, these aren't super dirty, but every now and again you'll have your nutrients and you'll just spill some on the counter, and this just prevents it from staining because that brown nutrient solution kind of like stains and crusts up everything it comes into contact with. It must only be good for plant roots because it kind of looks gross everywhere else. So I'm cleaning up all the places where I have made a little bit of a mess refilling my AeroGardens. I also like to clean off the displays You don't see me, but I do clean off the tops of the lights because there's lots of dust there. We're putting everything back, and it is so satisfying knowing everything's clean and it looks nicer. There's not dust everywhere and that weird growing stuff. There are some places in the water reservoir that are kind of stained. You can soak those overnight in vinegar, but I just didn't bother with it. So it's not perfect, but it's better than it was. Now I'm going to be putting my plants back, and they are happy because they were still somewhat moist. You don't want to take so long cleaning everything that you end up having your roots dry out completely because that will stress out your plants. So this little gadget thing that keeps the water and the light from coming into contact is really hard for me to keep open. So I'm always happy when I have something growing because I just tuck it in between my leaves. This is the nutrient solution that I'm using. So between those AeroGardens, I only need 1 gallon because each one holds half a gallon. So instead of mixing it together, I like to put in my nutrients and then fill it up with water because that way it like mixes itself. I also don't pour into the AeroGarden from this gallon. I use this perfect little watering can. It has a really nice long spout, so that way I'm not going to make as much of a mess. When I first started and like filling it up, I was using a gallon jug and I always spilled some. So I would highly recommend either like a cup or something that you have better control over. So this is how I keep my stainless steel from rusting. I use mineral oil. If you don't know, you can also use mineral oil on your cutting boards. It just keeps everything beautiful and nice. If you use anything else, it will stink and become rancid. So you need mineral oil, and it is in the laxative section. So if you don't have any, and you didn't know that, now you know. You can also use it on your refrigerator because stainless steel stuff normally has some kind of an oil in it to protect that finish. So we have filled everything up. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. I post all kinds of houseplant and gardening related videos, and I'm always making new things. So if you have an AeroGarden, I have these two and also the Farm 36. So I'll be making lots of content about that soon. So until next time, I'll be seeing you. Goodbye.